years when I actually started to get some traction. I got to travel a bit.
It's literally the craziest story ever. Because, like, when you talked, I think it was the first episode of your podcast that you talked about it, and I was like, sick, man, like, fire. I might have some tracks for you.
Thank you so much, because literally, you know, the depression and being down and out, like, that was real. I've been just honored to be a part of this, because having somebody believe in you is just an irreplaceable feeling.
Definitely, you gotta choose unity over the competition, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be competitive to that extent. Like, you can be competitive in a fun way, but you want to continue to push the good narrative and everything. I like what you said about, like, touring, though. You're like, I don't want to be traveling unless I'm touring. Like, that's a good reason to be jumping cities, you know what I mean? You're doing shows and stuff, like, yeah. That'd be where you want to graduate to, I think.
That's just the way I see it. I mean, after Seattle, I like literally shown myself. I was like, wow, I can do this. Like, it even got to a point, like, you know how parents are, like, you know, they want to support you, but at the same time, like, they want security. Like, you need to go to college, you need to get a job, all these things. I'm like, I understand, but it wasn't until I got to tour in Seattle that she was like, oh shit, like, you could really do this. I was like, I know, it's really, I'm getting on the plane right now. Like, it was a remarkable experience, and I'm like, this is just like the tip of the iceberg, and whatever I gotta do to keep that going, like, say less. I don't care about putting in 10,000 hours or whatever it is that, you know, would require somebody to get to that type of level. I know some people are like, you gotta know people in the industry, or you gotta be perfect at what you do. I'm like, honestly, no different than what Nipsey Hussle said, it's a marathon. As long as you have consistency and good quality, you will outlast those other people that say that they want it, don't really want it in 5 to 10 years if they don't get the results they want, and then you're still there consistently grinding, getting your traction, a little more people here, a little more exposure here, and then somebody's like, hey, we should go sign that cat, hey, we should go book him for this tour, whatever it looks like.
That's the beauty of it too. You never know where it's going to go, but you just got to keep going and see, you know. That's part of the whole thing, is the unpredictability of the entire process. I did want to get back to your podcast. Now, your podcast is called Growth is Hard, right? So,
yes, sir.
Kind of curious about the name and everything, and just really the concept behind it. It obviously goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the last 2 years of your life and how you've grown as a person and done a lot of cool things, and through obviously that experience made a lot of music. So go ahead and touch on that. Just kind of briefly describe what the show is about and how that's been going.
Literally, so 2019 really shaped myself as an individual, because anybody that knew me before 2019 could easily say, oh, he's very goofy, he's lackadaisical, you know, he's just kind of go with the flow. I didn't really have like I guess you could say urgency in most things in life, you know. It's just like, hey, it's gonna happen. 2019 happened, and literally my world was flipped over based on, you know, everything that happens. You get this gun safe moved into the mix, and literally between losing family members, losing friends, losing my own physical ability to, you know, take care of myself, let alone like walk, I had to not only reevaluate the people around me, I had to reevaluate myself, where I place my worth, where I place my time and energy. And I noticed a lot of people just do the same patterns that have always been done by their family members or friends, and they don't either believe that they can do more than that, or that they should, that, you know, that what they do is acceptable. And I had to be able to say, that's fine, but it's not going to work for me, and move past that. So I wanted to create a podcast, since, you know, COVID's going on. I can't actually, you know, go out and have like a little physical place and easily have people there to have like live shows, but I can create a podcast, have a message that cultivates, you know, growth, not only physically but mentally and emotionally, that shows people, you know, these generational curses that plague you, whether it's self-esteem, whether it's abuse, whether it's, you know, love and relationships, whether that's, you know, out of family or not, like, it can be changed as long as you put your mindset to changing yourself first, because that's where all the change really starts.
I always say on this podcast, as much as I get a chance to do it, I say that as creatives, especially musicians, it's good to have that mindset before you even go in, because the negativity and the different things that people try to throw on you, that can affect your creativity. Because energy that you're around, if you're around the bad energy, even if you're not a bad energy person yourself, it's going to rub off a little bit. And you're going to find yourself in kind of a pissed off mood, or kind of just like not with it if you're around people that are, you know, just giving off the bad vibes. So I think it's important to touch on those things, because you really got to be aware of that stuff a lot, especially when you're trying to positively impact other people through music. Like if you're trying to put a message in your song, it's going to help somebody. You got to make sure you're helping yourself first. You know what I mean? You gotta make sure that you're okay and that you're good as much as possible. Obviously, every day is not going to be good. You know what I mean? We're all going to have down days. We're all going to have days where it doesn't feel like, you know, we're even going to, like, why are we even doing this? You know what I mean? Especially in music, you're like, you hit the days where it just gets repetitive and you're like, does anyone even care what I'm doing? Is it going to matter? Then the next day, you're out of it. You're like, let's fucking go. Like, we're ready. You know, we got all this energy going and everything. So it's ups and downs and everything. But I think that you just got to make sure that creatively you can be in a good mindset to do your job as far as affecting people in a good way. And I think your podcast is doing that. And I love that you touch on things that don't just have to do with music. They just have to do with life. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can relate to those topics. And I know you had like your girlfriend on there, and you had another one of your collaborators on there already, and they got to share their story. So I think the possibilities are endless for where you can take it. So congrats on it, man.
Man, thank you so much, because literally, you know, so much of what you're saying about, you know, the things that people say to you, it's almost like a double-edged sword of, like, at least from what I understand of people, you know, everybody that wants to be, you know, say the entrepreneur, for example, they're like, oh, you got to read the laws of attraction and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so if you understand the laws of attraction goes for, you know, the type of things that are spoken from you, you might want to also acknowledge that those thoughts that you have are just as powerful, and almost, I would say, twice, if not 3 times as more often happen than what's actually said, as, you know, as dangerous or as beneficial as the voices or words that are spoken around you. Because it's never to say, you know, there isn't going to be bad times, or it's never to say you can't say anything that's negative, like, oh, this shit sucks. Like, did having a gun safe fall on me, was it a good thing? I mean, it's all about perspective. I think at the time it fucking sucked, but for where I'm at now, I mean, I could see it as a blessing. I could see it as an opportunity to look at myself more than just somebody that has to be physically capable of doing things to be appreciated, to have worth, to have any, I guess you could say, place in a household or in anybody's life. I had to find the silver lining in that and literally reshape the relationship I had with my mind, myself, and those around me, because I understand, you know, people are supposed to have their differences. We're not all supposed to be the same, and if America is really this melting pot, I don't care to be the exact same opinion as the next person, as long as we agree on what matters. And what really matters to me involving that topic is, like, you know, constructive criticism. I love it to death, because really, if people implemented that to their actual relationships, instead of being what they call is real or just being honest, like, constructive criticism is in a beneficial or a loving way that is supposed to help somebody grow or get the results that they're looking from, versus what a lot of people, you know, take from being real or honest is more negative or hurtful. Like, you know, I'm just being blunt, I'm just being me. And it's like, okay, but when you said that, were you doing that to help them? Was it coming from a place of love? Because, you know, I can understand, you know, some things need to be said, but it's not about what is said all the time, but it's the way you say it.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I totally agree on the whole thing about perspective, because it really is just how you're able to flip things to your advantage. You know what I mean? It's like, and that just starts with personal growth. It takes time, like you said, with your journey. It's like you had to have that time to kind of reflect on everything in your whole life, like going back to when you were a kid and what you used to do and how you were going to move forward. So it's really something about just sitting down with yourself, having the conversation. And it's not like that journey ever ends. Like, everybody's a work in progress. It's always going to be, you know, things we have to overcome and everything, but definitely things to keep in mind, because I feel like when you try and, like, shove those emotions down and bury them, it's never gonna end well. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You gotta embrace it. So
Gotta
definitely love it.
embrace it.
Yeah, and I love what you're doing for it, man. So continue that work. Great stuff, man. 100%. So I know you just dropped the Only Child record, which is the first one in a while. I think it's the first one in like 2 years.
Yes, sir.
So you want to talk about that, and then what is the next move after that? Because I figure you have some of the other stuff planned, but I'm not sure 100%. So
man, I'm so excited. So like literally, big shout out to Diamond Harper. I did a track with him literally back in high school. I talked about it on the podcast. There's a song called Way Too High, and it was literally a similar time where I was telling you, like, you know, getting involved in these rap competitions. I invited him and his brother over to record, and like literally I have never until that point in my life been around people that made me reevaluate if I was worth rapping. Like, I was like, dog, these people don't just rap, they really rap. Like the delivery, the bars, I was like, oh my god. Like I thought I had to go back and rewrite my stuff, like just make sure it was up to par, because I'm like, they came prepared. I'm like, I need to take notes. So like literally when I got the chance to work with him on a different basis now, where he's the producer and I'm the artist, I'm like, I gotta not only keep up with that same energy he brought then, but I gotta keep the wave that I had created for myself years ago and really stamp hard that, you know, I may have been gone for 2 years, but don't think that I was just sitting on my ass watching Netflix doing nothing, decided, well, I guess I could put out a song. There's a couple stores opening up again, like, you know, I guess I could do this. I'm like, no, I've been working, and I need people to understand, even if it's just like literally a 2-minute song, I need to show that there was growth from the first two of Maui and Simplicity is Key to what is now Only Child, and literally just taking a different approach as far as prepping for the song, already, you know, having it ready for downloading and streaming, having it submitted to blogs. We just got picked up by like 3 different blogs now, and it's going to be in a February issue of a double-page magazine. So I was like, woo, woo, woo. Like, I'm just so excited and grateful that that was able to happen. And literally, like, the next move, I want to have at least another song out by the next 2 to 3 months, because I want to say if I can have it ready by March, I'll make the announcement of like what song it's going to be, maybe a teaser, I don't know, but like I want to have at least 4 to 5 songs out by the end of this year, because there's no reason by the time I get done with workers' comp and I'm able to get to other destinations, other studios, etc. a lot easier, that I should not be putting out more music consistently.
And believe me when I tell you that this man has enough tracks to make it stretch for at least a few like literally you could make this stretch for a while, this run. So like this is just the beginning. But like I remember you had him on the podcast on one of your episodes. I could tell like you guys were joking the whole time, and like the chemistry was great. I'm like, you could tell these guys like they've known each other for a long time, like because it was just an undeniable like just relationship there, like through the episode. Like you guys were just had your inside jokes and stuff and everything, talking about like when you went to each other's house and recorded and stuff, and I was like, this is incredible. So it was cool to see that was kind of the song that like is gonna kick off the run, you know what I mean, that you're about to go on and everything. It's like your comeback record too. So I think it's and obviously the song is freaking crazy. Go check it out. I didn't get to do my reaction video because COVID had me in a chokehold, but I was like, I would have been in that episode maybe, because you posted the reactions. I was like, this close to being on there, but congrats on the song, man. And like I said, I think it's just the beginning of this run you're gonna go on. It's gonna be crazy. So
I'm excited, man. Just trying to take notes from many greats like, you know, Russ, Nipsey, and so many in between, because there's so much, not just money to be made, but exposure and creativity as far as like potential goes to make something happen that hasn't been done yet. And literally I want to not only bring that to the Oklahoma scene, but I want to expand on that in a bigger platform, which is something that I will, I guess, later divulge in with more details. But I plan on creating a new genre of music in the next 10 years called medical music, and really do something different. So by having these, you know, relationships now that have just flourished, the chemistry is there, I want to be able to prolong that longevity and really take it the extra mile. So when all this happens, like everybody can, benefit from the tree we all worked on together.
That kind of leads me into the last few questions here. These are a few questions I ask on every episode and every guest. So the first one is, you could go back 10 years ago, give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all. What do you think you would do?
10 years. If I went back 10 years, I would be 13 years old. 10 years ago, what piece of advice would I give myself? Holy shit. What piece of advice I would give myself? Is it just singular? Because I could give advice for days to my younger self.
Yeah, it could be anything.
So naive.
The possibilities are endless for this one.
I'll be like, look, first off, not everybody is your friend. Just because you share details with them, you share news or, celebratory information with them, does not mean that they're your friend. No different than I'm sure you've seen on TikTok, like you got 13 likes on your photo, but 300 people viewed your story of the same thing. So like, just because you've only got this many people engaging with you does not exactly mean that they're your friend or they want the best for you. Second, I'd tell myself to accept that being emotional was not a bad thing, but don't let emotions dictate your actions or your next move, because that is where a lot of people go wrong, and I feel like make the setbacks that end up happening to them, because it's impossible to be a regular human being that isn't like Jeffrey Dahmer or anybody like that to not have emotions when something goes wrong or something happens to them. Like there's going to be sadness, there's going to be anger, there's going to be, good and bad. But if you completely and solely dictate your next move off of, well, this person did this to me and I'm upset, so now I got to do this, like you're not thinking clearly and you're not thinking anything that's going to be progressively good for either of you. You don't have to do something that's going to benefit them, but honestly, the best kind of revenge, in my opinion, is success. Because no different than being like, oh, these people were so mean to me, I'm going to go egg their house. It's like, those are the same people that are going to be like, oh my god, do you remember back in high school we used to pick on you, oh man, that was so cool, can I get tickets to your show? Like, can I get those VIP tickets to your show, man? I love your music. It's just having a different approach of like, look, it's really going to help you get where you're going. Like, how long do you want to hold on to this? What else would I say to myself? Basically, I would plot and plan everything that I said I was going to do. Like, if I really wanted to do this, like, give like a glimpse of like, hey man, you can really do this shit. You were touring and da-da-da-da. So if you hunker down right now, you might get further. And basically, like, all the hours and time that I put into music, double down on that, because there was many nights where I was just bullshitting playing Xbox because I'm like, I got all the time in the world, I'm only a sophomore, I'm only a freshman. You don't got time like you think you do. And if you're not out there putting your foot to the pavement every single day and leaving it all on the table, like, there will be days where you're going to ask yourself, did I do enough? Did I do everything in my power to absolutely make this happen, or did I fall short because I didn't try hard enough? Just completely eliminate that. So I guess if that's 3 things I would tell myself, that would be it. And stay away from girls, goddammit, they're not helping you.
So you touched on the next one a little bit ago, but 10 years from now then, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
10 years from now? Oh man, I remember touching on this in a previous interview I did with a blog, and I don't want this to sound conceited by any means, but this is just how much I believe in what I'm going to do. But literally, I picture myself being like up there in the conversation with the Lamars and the Drakes and the Coles and all that in between, because literally I'm bringing something that everybody can touch and relate to, and the game plan that I have for it is not just the fact of like he makes good music. I want to be active in the communities, I want to be involved, I want to help change a lot of negative cycles that just continuously happen because people don't feel like they can do anything about it. And more importantly to me, I want to go to places that people feel like they aren't being heard just because there's not a lot of people there. Like, obviously people are like, oh my God, he's going to come to LA, he's going to come to San Francisco, he's going to come to all these places, I'm so excited. I want to go to, like, I view, like, where I'm from, Guthrie, as a little place. Because the only reason I know of it is because historically it was the first capital of Oklahoma. So, like, nobody outside of Oklahoma is probably going to know what Guthrie is. So if I can find more places like that have listeners, that have fans, I want to just pop up and be like, hey, I'm going to be here for the next 3 hours. Come, get some free merch. Come have like a mini show. Like, just really get involved and see what I can do to help. Because even though those big cities are really cool and there's so many more people to meet, it's the little people in between that really keep that traction or keep that love going. Because always, whether it's a scandal, whether it's an accident, those are typically the first people to fall off. It's just those bigger cities, because then, I don't know if you remember, what was it, like the Little Pump, Smoke Perp Wave, when there was like, fuck J. Cole, like everybody was hating on J. Cole or hating on Russ. People will just ride the bandwagon, will ride the wave, but if you really make that connection and have real real fans, none of that will matter. And honestly, I welcome the hate. Look at Floyd Mayweather, notorious person, like a just flamboyantly aggressive and arrogant, attitude. And I'm not advertising that, but what he did with it has set him up for the rest of his life. So if you can literally put yourself in a position to create longevity that's generationally beneficial monetary wise, and it's not directly, impacting somebody negatively, by all means do so. If you want to be the bad guy, be the bad guy. But I'm just trying to create a change on a bigger platform that will not only get my message across, but like I mentioned earlier with the medical music, I plan to literally create a genre of music that's going to be used in different hospitals and clinics around the world, that's going to help people with different cognitive and mental disorders. So literally, I plan to not only live my truth in my personal music, but leave my stamp in history just forever.
Love it, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with all of it, man, because I don't doubt you for a second. I really believe you can do all this stuff, because I've seen it literally firsthand just from working with you. So looking forward to all of it 100%. Do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Final words of wisdom? I guess going back to something you said earlier, I wanted to touch on. A lot of people, when it comes to their time and their energy and the people they surround themselves with, there's a difference between giving, and then there's a difference between what's the word? Like donating. I'll make donating the example, right? So I'll give out a little business game. So a lot of times when people like do something for you, they're looking at it as a donation in business terms, because a lot of businesses will donate X amount of dollars, and if you know how your LLC or your nonprofit is structured, you can write off a good amount of that and get free money from the government. So let's say you donate $500,000, you can get a third, if not half of that back, just because you donated under certain, litigation codes and etc. Now, if you're giving something, that is giving with the intent of just pure, like, here, take this, I don't want anything back, this is just meant for you because, you need it, I felt that I needed to give it to you, I appreciate you, whatever it may be. And understand that if you are, like myself, an empath, that is just naturally your friend circle's therapist and whatnot, you need to give to yourself before you give to other people. Because if I have a cup of water right here and I'm constantly pouring into this other cup, and I'm not getting anything back, how can I keep pouring into other people if I can't even pour anything into myself? And then they're over here like, but I need more. You can't even help yourself. It's no different than the flight emergencies. Put your own mask on. If a medic gets hurt, the medic has to help themselves, because it's not like anybody else is going to come help them to then help everybody else. So literally, take care of yourself, take care of your mentality, your mental fortitude, emotionally, spiritually, all that, because the people that are not right for you, when you set those boundaries, when you have to say no, get comfortable saying no, because it may not feel good in the moment, but those people that are either toxic or abusive, they're going to show their hand. They're going to be confrontational about it. They're going to be upset about it, and that is okay. Be okay with that, because if they were meant for you, they would be all for you.
Well, for Mothership, everybody, man, this episode was crazy. I appreciate you for even wanting to be on the show today. You're the exact type of guest that this podcast was made for, 100%. I'm glad we even delved into some things that had nothing to do with music, just had to do with life, you know what I mean? And like I said, I'm just honored to work with you, man. Be working on all these songs. I'm ready for people to hear what you got going, and everything, like I said, that you are gonna set out to do, you're gonna do it. Like I am nothing short of positive on everything, and I really just appreciate you even supporting my music and what I do, and the feeling is definitely mutual, man.
And like I said, it is an honor to be here. It is an honor to work with you on a music and personal basis, because you yourself are an amazing creator, and I can't wait for the world to hear what we're, collaboratively coming together on. And if there's anything else that I can be a part of, whether it's another episode or an event or anything else got going on, say the word. I will be there as a supportive, as a collaborative, whatever you need, man, because you deserve that shit.
Thank you, man. And we got to do it in person the next time.
What's up? Where you at?
Yeah. I'm in Ohio, but my brother's going to be in Dallas, so I'll be down that way anyway. So I could definitely stop by Oklahoma. I can make the pit stop.
Make a pit stop. I mean, I'm just saying, Kanye's in Ohio, so we could just pull up, see what he's doing.
Is he still here?
I mean, I know he's got a house out there that he made Yeezus at, or was it Yeezus, or was it the bipolar one? I can't remember.
I didn't know if he was in for All-Star Weekend. That's what I thought he was here for originally, but
I know he's got a house out there, so I'm just saying, creative geniuses alike. Get our little shmoney on.